asked you what you wanted to know about teaching online, so today I'm answering those questions. For those of you who don't know, I've been teaching online since 2018 and it's been my primary source of income. I was even able to buy a house as a single mother. It wasn't my first rodeo trying to do online jobs. I tried MLM, I tried transcription jobs, I tried applying to work from home 9-to-5 jobs. I've also tried to work for companies that weren't work from home, but to be honest, most of those jobs just aren't compatible with my lifestyle. You know, being responsible for the kids, the school calling and wanting the kids picked up, living in the middle of nowheresville, so it takes like forever to get to work. So when I found online teaching and I saw that others were making it work, I had to make it work too. That was a non-negotiable for me. Today, I'm gonna show you how you can start teaching online so you can do it too. Welcome to my channel. My name is Jillian, and this entire channel is focused on exactly what this video is about. Teaching online. Make sure while you're here that you hit that subscribe button and give that bell notification a little bit of love, because I have new videos every week that will help you become an awesome, amazing, super teacher boss person. By the way, if you're watching this and you're already teaching online, by all means feel free to pop in the comments with anything that is going to be helpful. If you've got a company that you recommend, if you want to add something, don't hold back. And if you have any questions during this, light up that comment section, because if I don't have an answer, somebody else is going to see it who will, or I will find you an answer. Don't hold back. Let's make this a give and take knowledge exchange. There are 3 different ways that you can teach online. You can teach with a company, you can teach with a marketplace, or you can teach independently. I'll tell you about each of these and some options so that you can decide for yourself, and then I'll give you my recommendation on what to do. So the first way that you can work teaching online is with a company. When you work with a company, they're going to tell you what to teach, and you're going to get students from inside the company's like website or platform. So they're going to do the advertising for you. They'll bring in the students. The students will either choose you or they'll give you the students. They're going to pay you usually an hourly wage for the classes that are booked, and you'll usually have a contract of sorts. For a lot of companies, all you have to do is show up and teach. The company will usually already be telling you what to teach or give you an idea. A lot of times they'll provide the curriculum. You will usually have to make a profile page where you can make yourself stand out as a teacher with a profile picture, a bio, a short video, which we call intro videos. And if you get to that point, I made this great video that I think everybody should watch that shows you how to optimize that. Companies are a great way to start, especially if you've never taught before. They pay significantly less than the other options, and most of the time, if not all of the time, the pay is out of your control. You don't get to set your pay. You're going to be told by the company what they'll pay you. When you start researching companies, you're going to want to make sure that you can follow their guidelines. So what do they require for minimum qualifications? Do they require a certain degree? Maybe a TESOL certification. Do they require a certain number of hours? Do they require you to work peak hours? Peak hours is just another way of saying like, this is when we're busy. So a lot of times if you're working for a company that teaches kids in China, your peak hours are going to be in Beijing time. So it's like the middle of the night for people in California. What tech requirements do they have? Some might require you to use Zoom. Some might require you to download an app. Do you need to have a headset? Some companies may require you to do additional tasks outside of your teaching time, and these tasks are usually not paid any extra. So you might need to review the students' homework or give feedback after a lesson. So one example of a company would be Cambly. Cambly pays between $10.20 to $12 an hour. You can see this isn't a very lucrative income, and a lot of the companies are going to be lower pay. I don't want this video to be super long, so in the comments I'm going to put a link for the playlist for different companies that you can go through. And if you've got a company that you recommend, drop your referral links if you've got them. Pros of working for a company: they're easy to get into, there's less back end or business work that you're responsible for. A lot of times it's kind of like plug and play, like you turn your computer on, you just go in and you teach. Cons: they're going to pay you a lot less. Contracts might not be super great for your lifestyle or your preference. Okay, so the second way is through a marketplace. A marketplace is halfway between working for a company and owning your own online teaching business. With a marketplace, you're going to be more in control of a lot of things. You get to choose the topic of the lessons, what curriculum you're going to teach. You'll set your own prices. You'll determine how many students can attend each lesson and what ages this lesson is meant for. The company will advertise your lessons for you, provide a lot of the customer service, handle all of the billing, and give you a place to teach your lessons on, whether it's their company Zoom account or a service of their own, like All School uses ClassPod. In exchange for this, they're going to take a percentage of the income that you make. You aren't going to need to actually pay them this. They're going to take it out of the money that you make and then send you your cut of your money. With a marketplace, you can stand to make a lot more money than you can with a company. For example, if you are teaching an hour-long lesson, and say you've got 10 students and you charge $15 for that class, that's $150. If the company takes 30%, you just made $105 an hour. You can see where that can make you a lot more money than like $10 an hour, right? Some examples of marketplaces include OutSchool and AllSchool. Pros, they're easy to get into. They pay better than companies. Advertising is done for you, and you don't have to handle a lot of the back-end stuff like billing. Cons, there's more work to do. You still have to do some marketing within their own student base. The third way that you can teach online is by starting your own business. This is my favorite way. A lot of times you're going to hear this referred to by online teachers as going independent. As you can imagine, with starting your own business, there's a lot more involved. You're going to have to create a marketing plan. You're going to need to figure out like who you're teaching and how you can enroll new students. As far as the marketing goes, it's pretty much going to be done through word of mouth, social media, and email marketing. So word of mouth just means that a student takes your lesson and then they refer their friends to take your lessons as well. Social media marketing is just that. You're going to make a presence on social media, and through your social media accounts, you will invite them to take your lessons. If you are teaching in China, you want to know how to use WeChat, which for what you're doing will be like a group messaging app. You can't just get onto WeChat though without somebody who is already on the app vouching for you and approving you. And sometimes that's hard to find because you only have like 5 minutes to do the approval process. And you can't find people on WeChat without knowing their WeChat or phone number. So unless you already have connections, WeChat is going to be a lot harder to start with, and if you have 0 connections, it's going to be impossible. So if you're starting out and you want to start marketing to Chinese students, you should start an account on Xiaohongshu, which you'll also see as XHS, or you'll hear it referred to as Little Red Book. This is basically the Instagram of China. But I don't want you to think that you have to be on Chinese social media to get paying students, because that is certainly not true, regardless of what you've been told. It is not true. You can use TikTok, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, LinkedIn, like any of those social media platforms as well. And of course, you're going to need to set up an email marketing system as well. If you're going to go this route, by the way, and you want to be independent, I highly recommend ConvertKit. It is affordable. If you don't have a ton of email subscribers already, you can start it for free. And the email marketing for ConvertKit works like everywhere. It even works in China. I could go into way more detail on setting up an independent business, but that would have to be a whole other video because I could talk forever. So if you want to see that, let me know in the comments. When you are independent, you are in charge and responsible for everything, including your rates. You're going to have to pay more out of pocket, so maybe you will need a pro Zoom account or an account with a teaching service that I love called Koala Go. But you can make a lot more money in the end, and you have more control over it. So pros, more control, more income possibilities. You don't have to give some of your money to a marketplace. The cons, there are more expenses, more unpaid time to grow your business. You're going to have to spend a lot of time marketing and learning how to do things, and it is a lot more work. Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise. It really is. So if you made it this far, tell me which way sounds the best for you. If you're brand new to all of this, like you've never taught anything in your life, here's what I would recommend starting with. Start with a company and a marketplace. You aren't going to be fully booked right away anyway, so it's not a bad idea to try out both. When you are ready, start a YouTube channel or Xiaohongshu if you're going to be marketing in China, and start helping potential students for free. Share your knowledge and start growing a following on social media. Start to add things on, like an email list and a Facebook or a WeChat community group. And when you are ready to go independent, if that's something that you have, in your sights here, you'll have an audience to go independent with. If you start to get people from your social media asking to take lessons with you, do not refer them back to your company or your marketplace courses. Do not advertise your company or your marketplace courses on your social media. Teach them independently. There's no reason to give that company or marketplace your hard-earned money for a student that you brought in yourself. Like, what are you paying for? If you start getting people coming to you asking for lessons, take that as a sign that it's time to push yourself to the next level and go independent. So now I want to address some of the questions that you asked. Can anyone do it? As much as I want to say yes, the answer here is no. I'm going to be completely honest with you here. Like, teaching in a classroom is not for everyone. Teaching online is not for everyone either. You are going to have a lot of patience and a willingness to learn. I have worked with a lot of online teachers who don't know how to use simple technology. And if the idea of this frustrates you and you're not willing to learn how, or thinking about it just makes you like, oh my God, I'd rather stub my pinky toe, this probably isn't the job for you. A huge part of online teaching is the online part. And with it being a technology-based job, even though it's simple tech skills that you have to know, things are going to change. And you're going to have to change with it. You're going to have to learn. You're going to have some level of patience, knowledge of whatever you're teaching, the ability to teach, as well as the willingness to learn or learn how to use technology and be able to adapt when things change, because they will. How old do you need to be? Well, I guess if you're going independent, that's different, because even kids can have a business nowadays. Right? We've all seen kids that have businesses. So there is no age limit. But if you're working for a company or a marketplace, you're going to have to be 18 or older. And sometimes there are different country restrictions too. Do I need any certifications? There is no blanket answer to this, because every company is going to have its own requirements. Some companies might require a bachelor's degree or a teaching certification like a TESOL. Some won't require anything at all. Some might require experience. Do I need to speak their language? If you are teaching English as a second language, you're going to be working with people who don't speak English primarily. Their English might not be very good. They might even have like a baseline level of English where they can, say like numbers and, hi, how are you? But no, you don't have to speak their language. In fact, I don't speak any language other than English. Maybe a little bit of French, a little bit of Spanish, and some pretty terrible sign language. What happens if I'm sick and I can't teach a class? So again, this is going to depend on your company. So make sure you go over the contract that they give you or their handbook that has all these rules. Most of the time, you are allowed a certain number of cancellations, but you aren't going to be paid for them. So you won't get sick time. If you are independent, make sure you have your own contract that outlines all of this for all of your students, so they know what to expect as well. How do I get paid? So again, this is going to be different for every single company. Some might pay direct deposit, some through Stripe, some through PayPal or Wise, some pay weekly, some pay bi-weekly, some pay monthly, some pay every day. Or after you reach a certain income level. And if you're independent, you have to set this up for yourself. Most people use Stripe or PayPal, but there are other options. And if you want to go independent, make sure you check out Thursday's video, because Ivy from Super Teacher and I are going to be talking all about going independent, answering your questions, and showing you some really cool tools that you could use. Are there scams? Oh my God, yes. I'm not trying to scare you, but there are definitely scams out there. If you're looking to apply to a company, do your research on it first. Look it up on Reddit, YouTube, Google. Go into the teachers' Facebook groups. I have a Facebook group and we are very, very, very pro teacher and keep a tight eye on scams. If you're not there, it's this group, Online Teacher Success and Support. I'm gonna link it in the description box for you as well. If they ask you to take it to Messenger and don't want to discuss it publicly, like in a Facebook group, I would consider that a red flag. It's probably a scam. There are also a lot of companies out there that will offer to pay you peanuts, and nobody should be working for $5 an hour. I don't care where you're from, that's an unreasonable wage. And if you go into these groups and you see translation jobs, those are like 100% always scams. What things should I be looking for in a platform? Okay, so this one is a really loaded question, but really, does it work for you? Is it what you want? Does it dot the I's and cross the T's for you? How does what they want fit into your life? But even more so, what are other teachers saying about it? Your best resource is going to be other teachers. We talk. We know a lot about companies, even if we've never worked at that particular company. And in our Facebook group, if a company gets a bad rep, they actually get blackballed from the Facebook group. And there are a couple of large Facebook groups, and we talk with each other. So if it happens in one group, it happens in all of the group. Online teachers, joining the group here, we don't tolerate spammy, scammy people. If you want to ask and you don't want your name posted with it, post anonymously. Most likely somebody has dealt with that company before and they can give you the inside scoop, whether it's good or bad. What can I teach? You are going to see a lot of teachers teaching ESL or English as a second language, but don't feel that you're limited to that. So you could teach anything. You could teach any language, any subject, any skill. So it could be math, photography, art, computer, tech, science, history, yoga, Pilates, gymnastics, an instrument, singing, acting, Bible studying. Choose to teach something that you enjoy because you're going to be spending a lot of time doing it. What is the best way to get started? So first, you're going to connect with other teachers. Apply to companies, apply to marketplaces. Start teaching, find out what you love teaching and who you love teaching. What about taxes? Okay, you still need to pay taxes. What is that saying? Like there's nothing certain in life except for death and taxes, right? Yeah, you still have to pay taxes. I'm not a tax person. I am not qualified to talk about that. So I would recommend that you talk with a tax professional. Every person, every situation, every location is going to be different. And I'm not someone that can, tell you this, but be prepared to set aside some of your money to pay quarterly taxes if you are in the US. I could talk for days on days on this topic, going over different companies, marketing techniques, how to go independent, yada, yada, yada. But I obviously don't want to make this a month-long video. So if you have any more questions or you want to see something like a more in-depth video on something that I mentioned, please let me know in the comments and I'll make sure it's covered. If you're interested in going independent, be sure to check out this video next. And if you want to apply to a company, I'll see you over here. Can I just fangirl over this shirt right now? My mom got me this.